Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pregame Network Podcast. This is episode 118. I am your host, Dan, joined as always by my bestest pal, Anthony. Say hi, Anthony.
Hello.
And just like every other week, we are going to talk about what's going on in the world of video games, and it's going to be another big one, so strap in.
Yeah.
But not before we get to what we've been playing this week so far. I'm going to go first because I think you went first like the last 3 weeks in a row or something like that.
Works for me.
So, all right, what have I been playing? Not a whole lot of out of the ordinary stuff. You know, I still have my staples. Battlefield has been, I've been like taking up sniping in Battlefield for the first time since it came out. And it's just, I don't know, just something new I'm trying. We've been playing the finals. I picked up this game on a Steam sale for like $2 called Severed Steel. You ever heard of it?
It sounds familiar. What is it?
It's it's a first-person shooter, shocker. But so there's like a campaign mode and like a firefight mode and everything. But it's one of those movement shooters that borrows a lot from like Overkill or Titanfall or whatnot. I didn't put that much time into it yet because the Gears beta came out. But yeah, so it's a movement shooter with a single player and like an arcade mode. So it's something else I've added to my backlog. I also downloaded this game called PAX Autocratica.
Okay.
It's like a first-person shooter roguelite with I think it's like also an RTS or something like that. It blends two opposing genres together. But I have not even tried it yet. So I plan on getting to that whenever. Beyond that, I have played. Hold on, I'm continuing to chip away at Doom. I'm almost done with Doom 2016. Finally, on my Nightmare run. It's a lot more difficult than I remember it, especially in comparison to the other two games, because you have a lot less tools at your disposal in Doom 2016, which really limits your mobility and like different options you have to, well, no, it doesn't limit your options. It definitely limits your mobility, absolutely. And you just don't have as many tools in your toolbox as far as mobility goes, in my opinion. Like in Doom Eternal, they added a whole bunch of shit. Like the double jump didn't go anywhere, that's still there. But now you have a dash, you have the flame belch, two different types of grenades that you can swap between at any moment. More weapons. It's like there's just a lot more to Doom Eternal. It's a very substantial sequel, in my humble opinion. But yeah, I've been chipping away at my Nightmare run in Doom 2016. I am loving it. I am further reinforced that Doom 2016 is the best one out of all three. Even though I know, like last week or the week before, I said that I like Dark Ages the best. Now after replaying Doom 2016, it is so good. It is so good. Without like getting into it, that's all I'm gonna say. We played the finals a little bit, and I've been playing a lot of Gears E-Day, so I'm sure we'll talk about that once we get to you. But yeah, that's basically all I've been playing this week.
All right.
I feel like there was something else, but maybe a little bit of Halo. Anyway, yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, for me, so for me, I had a couple excursions, which I might have a lot to say on, but obviously I had my rotation. I have my fighting games. A new character came out in Street Fighter, so me and Harrison tried her. Street Fighter, I don't want to say we're winding down with it, because the way I describe it to Harrison, I'm sure I brought this up to you, Street Fighter 6 specifically, is a very solid game. But it seems afraid to really work with the things it does well. Everything is very... And it's hard to really describe to someone like you who isn't necessarily as big into fighting games, at least in the last 2 decades. You know, you were mostly big into them when we were much younger. But there's a lot of systems and a lot of ways that the game works that when you reach there's almost like a ceiling trying to keep you down to a certain degree, because they want everything to kind of work in a way that keeps everyone level, is friendly to newcomers, and it really has to do with things like moves being safe or unsafe, so that either, they're easily easy to throw out there, easy to mash, or unsafe to the degree that everything moves so slowly that everyone involved in the interaction can say, okay, yeah, that's definitely a move you can punish or follow up from, you know? And so me and Harrison do enjoy Street Fighter 6, and with the recent Year 4 patch that just kicked things off, there's been a lot of balancing adjustments that kind of favor us in some ways and not so much in others. I went online to Twitter and I started, talking about one character that just keeps getting nerfed patch after patch because she was very strong when she launched, and a bunch of people told me to shut the fuck up because I guess she's just a problem online, even though she's basically been nerfed into the dirt at this point. But the other characters that me and Harrison like to play, I'll give them credit. There's a lot that they try to do when they buff characters to make them feel better and more interesting without, breaking the system that's in play. But I think that in the long run, how the game is balanced way too safe, and them not wanting to mess too much with the game mechanics, because I'll be honest, when a lot of other games they add mechanics like Tekken or Guilty Gear, it tends to end up being a disaster in some way, shape, or form, or it shakes things up too much. But I think Street Fighter 6 is just playing it way too safe right now. But we still enjoy it, we still play it. It is, and again, I don't want to say winding down, but we're almost kind of like doing that. I don't know, but we'll see where that goes. Other than that, I obviously have stuff in my rotation like Marvel Rivals. You mentioned that we've played the finals.
On the topic of the finals, I just have to get this out. So I do genuinely enjoy the finals. It's a lot of fun. It's a very different breed of competitive first-person shooter, in my humble opinion. And that's all due to the destruction and like the different ways that you can approach any scenario. But goddamn, if each match isn't like a total crapshoot as far as like if you're just gonna get shit on or you're gonna do great, or in like somewhere in the middle, it is never more apparent to me than after like a 2 to 3 hour play session with us and the guys. Again, I do genuinely really enjoy the finals. It's my it's my 5th most played game on Steam, which is kind of saying something.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. But like, oh man, I get so fucking pissed at that game sometimes. And I mean, there's a larger conversation to be had with this, but I want more progression out of the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but yeah, I just had to get that out because like we just played like not too long ago before starting the recording, and there were some games where I was having a great time. I was just slaying out, and then there were other games that I just couldn't get a kill for like the entire first half of the match, and the split on that, it was like 50-50 tonight. It was, oh my god, the roller coaster of emotions that I went on. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out because it's been bothering me.
That's fine. But yeah, so there was some finals. Obviously, I mentioned some rivals. My gacha rotation is smaller than it used to be. I basically check into Genshin Impact every so often, mainly to do the different events. It's apparently a big update coming up, so I'm kind of excited to see what they add, because I always do like exploring. I think I've mentioned this before, but a big thing with Genshin Impact for me is like I don't do it like a lot of the other gacha players do, where they like play it daily, they grind constantly. I like revisiting that game because it looks nice, the music is typically good. It's a different kind of pace, and I like doing the events with some of the other guys I know. So their summer event stuff is kind of coming to a close, so I've been just doing some of that stuff. Now there are 2 games that took up the bulk of my time this week and a little last week. Do you want the game I liked and have played before first, or do you want the game I have played before but have lesser experience in and don't like all that much? I'll leave it to you. Which one do you want to start with?
Good question. I want to end on a positive note, so let's hear the game that you don't like.
So, Dan, I sat down and I played Cyberpunk 2077.
I fucking knew it. I knew it. God damn. This is another one of those things that you and I have wildly different opinions on. Yes. So let's hear it, Anthony.
So I did. I don't want to sound corny and say a deep dive, but I basically this is the first time I really sat down and played it since they started rolling out patches. Like I basically did my fair share of rubbernecking when the game was newer, just because it was when an accident like that's happening, terrible. It was terrible. So I would say
before we really get into this, I'm just gonna put out the disclaimer. This particular topic on its own could be an entire podcast episode between the two of us. Yeah. So let's really try to stay on topic, and I don't want to go tit for tat back and forth, because we will be here for fucking hours.
Yes. So I'm not going to go nuts, because part of the reason I went and I played it is because I saw it on Game Pass. I'm just like, oh, this is an opportunity. I've always wanted to do some kind of video on Cyberpunk, and ever since they announced a month or so ago, maybe a little more than that they are no longer doing DLC. The support's kind of ended. Now would be like a good time to jump in and fill it out. And as I was getting at, this is it's the first time in a long time that I've played it. I tried it earlier in the year and it just didn't click with me, and I'm just like, it's whatever. And so I sat down and I did two things.
Before you go any further, I'm sorry, one more thing, just so I have a full understanding of your time with it. Did you play through the entire game plus Phantom Liberty, or did you not beat it? How far as total gameplay have you experienced?
Without spoiling what I might put out there in the future, simply put, and what I was about to say is, I did 2 playthroughs. I did one where I just kind of mainlined the story. I did basically, if I started to check out even a little bit, I said fuck it and I pushed the main story forward. That's how I played it the first time.
That was actually the same exact way that I played it the first time. But when I played it the first time, it was having the majority of its bugs and it just wasn't a finished product. So when I played through it, I just beelined the story. I didn't really experience it. So continue.
Okay, that's fair. So what that basically, I would say I did a handful of side quests and quest chains. I didn't really touch any of the gigs, all the smaller stuff on the side, and then I eventually just went and I completed it, and then I immediately started a second playthrough, and this playthrough, which is just about done, I did it with the intention of doing, if not everything, 95% of what the game had to offer. To kind of give you perspective, I don't know if you remember, Dan, but the game is broken up into 3 acts. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and the first act, you're locked into the one location, Watson. Then the second act is where all of the game happens, and the third act is picking your ending path.
Yeah.
Exactly. I spent 10 hours in Act 1 doing everything there was to do in that location. Right. I'm doing my due diligence. I did that. Yeah, and the other thing to consider is, the first time around, I didn't really... I played it on normal, and I didn't upgrade my cyberware at all through the entirety of the game. Oh, I'm sorry.
Bad move.
I'm sorry. 2/3 into my first playthrough, I said I should probably upgrade my cyberware, and I did it. I just went with whatever guns I found on the ground. I didn't invest anything. I was playing it, I wouldn't say brute force, but I was just playing it straight. And then in the second playthrough, I basically, with my funds from doing fucking everything, I was constantly going in, upgrading, and all that kind of stuff. And without giving you the full list of my itinerary and making this podcast 2 hours long, all I have to say is that the game probably should have launched like this.
Well, no shit.
And I finally have a firm something clicked with me when I was playing it. Not clicked in the way that I'm like, oh god, I've seen the light, I love this game now. But it clicked with me why it's so popular from a gameplay standpoint. I understand the puzzle pieces that make up this game, that make it so easy for people to enjoy despite all of the shortcomings and despite the broken promises and all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
It is a near perfect blend of what people like from both Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands. And I think
Borderlands, where do you get Borderlands from?
The amount of crap that you get and the RPG elements, that's it's a sliver of what Borderlands has to offer. You're constantly getting new shit, you're constantly picking up crafting components, you're constantly grabbing weapons that can be taken down into other components that you can build up in certain ways. The RPG elements, while I would say the RPG elements are a bit heavier than Borderlands is, it's still that kind of tech tree where you're not doing too much with stats, but there's like a bunch of perks that have a lot of shit that like add up to your experience. And when all of that fails, the game isn't particularly difficult, so you're left with like these mini arenas that you can just blast through. So I've kind of like the sauce. It's been revealed to me. I see all the ingredients and I understand why it's so easy for people to enjoy, despite all, like, obviously there's a lot of arguments about it. We and you have had back and forths about it, and I'm not gonna say I sat there and going, oh, I hate this. It sucks so much. Like it plays fine. It's not. It's like how we talk about people who just kind of pick up certain games, shut their brain off, and then they tell you about it later, and it's like, yeah, I just like to shut my brain. That's kind of how I treated this game, because nothing quite gripped me. I would just say, so, like,
out of curiosity, which ending did you do? Did you get? I should say.
Well, the first time around, I got working with Arasaka, just because if you don't,
it's funny. That was my ending the first time I played through it too, because I just fucking beelined it. I didn't worry about
that's
any of the morality systems or anything like that.
Well, the thing about it to me is, because of my previous experiences with the game, I knew that there were multiple endings, obviously. I had assumed, based on my cursory look around the game and the fact that I had gotten there at one point before, I thought it was going to be like, okay, so it's probably like your choice of 5 endings, and then you can unlock 2 more along the way. When really what it is, it's your choice of 2 endings. You can lock another 4 or 5 along the way. One is particularly well hidden, where you could just kill yourself. And I'm just like, well, I probably would have chosen a different ending for this.
Suicide.
You can just take pills and kill yourself. If you hit a very specific speech check in a very specific side mission, you can storm Arasaka by yourself.
That I was gonna ask you about that, because from what I understand about it, the way that you unlock that ending is when you're sitting on the roof of not Misty's place, but one of the buildings from place, when you're sitting on that roof and like you're deciding what to do, the way that I know how to activate that ending is you just sit there for an indeterminate amount of time until Johnny finally pops up
or something.
Yeah, and then he's like, "We should just go in there and kill everyone we see."
Yes,
and like that's
that's where I'm going the second time. But the whole thing is, it's not just wait there for 5 minutes. You need to have your friendship with Johnny at like 70% or higher. You need to in his specific side quest, where you go and you locate his grave, like you need to say very specific things to him, otherwise it won't trigger at all. And but I mean, this is where we kind of get into like a lot of things I like are more subjective with me instead of the objective complaints I have about the game itself. A lot of this, it's so weird to me that like it's like, the whole point is all the endings are supposed to be bittersweet. There's no real good ending, and I'm just like, I mean, okay, I can kind of, like, if you want to do that narratively, I don't think it's wholly earned, because I compared this game to GTA earlier, right? I said, like, a good chunk of it's part of GTA. None of the tone in all of the side shit you do matches, like, the bleak tone that they're trying to sell you on as mandatory for the story. And that's one of my, like, things that, like, I pick at a lot, is, like, not necessarily the tone I prefer, but, like, the tonal balance. Because, like, you'll if you do all the side missions and side gigs, a lot of them are very either lighthearted or, like, again, borderline GTA side missions, where, like, they're supposed to be satirical, kind of, or, like, comedic to some degree. I don't know. It's just, like...
Well, some of them are, yeah. I haven't played through Cyberpunk in quite a while. I would say over a year. Between my 2 playthroughs, I think I have about like 110 hours sunk into the game in grand total. Now, to what you said about it perfectly blending Borderlands and GTA, that never even dawned on me before, but it makes a ton of sense. And the reason why I liked it so much wasn't even because of the gameplay necessarily, because the gameplay, it's serviceable. It's fine. Like, it doesn't do anything special. It doesn't do anything crazy. It's not revolutionary, anything like that. It's just a very like by the numbers, like first person shooter RPG type of game. The thing that made me really fall in love with the game, and I know like you and I are on opposing sides of the fence here, was really two things. Number one was the world overall. I think it's one of the best open world games that one of the best worlds in an open world game that I've experienced. Just my opinion.
Before you go any further than that, the setting of Night City, while I do think it falls short of the source material and the promises that were laid up to it, just driving around it's got that kind of urban vibe that appeals to people who either like urban vibes or like just like visiting cities and stuff like that. I enjoyed moving about the setting. Like I wanted everything that people have said about Cyberpunk and like getting immersed in the world and like loving everything about it. I wanted to feel that because the setting itself is appealing to work your way through.
Right. Yeah. So that was a huge positive for me. The other one was, and this is again where we're going to disagree. The overall like writing and feel of the main story arc, I really, really enjoyed. Especially with all the dialogue between Johnny and V. I ate that shit up because number one, like Keanu Reeves is a great actor, and like he really sold the role as Johnny Silverhand. Like at first, like it was kind of ridiculous. Like he's just this punk rocker guy who hates the corporations and blah blah blah, and it kind of feels like a gimmick at first. But the more you play it and the more you listen to Johnny talk, like it kind of took on a life of its own almost. I feel, especially that one mission where you go to the oil fields and like you write out like a tombstone like in the middle of the oil field, and like Johnny's sitting right there because like he's waxing poetic that no one remembers him and he did everything, like his life was a waste and blah blah blah. I thought that was a really good scene. But I'm getting off track here. The writing overall in the main story arc of the game, I really really like, because I think when I played through it my second time, like I really went balls deep. I told you that I really liked the way that the game explored like what humanity means when you have all these implants in you, and like how far people will go for X, Y, and Z thing, and like how far like the human race could fall. Like all those like major tonal arcs, I really enjoy that. I also really like sci-fi settings in general, which helped in like my overall enjoyment of the game. And then when Phantom Liberty came out, the story and the writing and the performances in particular were very good, I thought. And I just really liked the dystopian, like it's like borderline tragic nature that the game held like overall, because nothing is really like sunshine and rainbows in that game, obviously. Everything is just a very particular degree of fucked in like in whatever end of the spectrum you want to call it.
See, the thing is, like, you're describing all that to me, and I acknowledge it's in the source material. The game isn't really like that's part of my problem, is the game never really displayed that to me. It's almost like the game tells you it's there. The way that some of the characters talk implies it's there, but I never got that from the world, you know? I got that from I can pick that up from, because the only amount of bleakness and suffering comes from the arbitrary nature of some of the aspects of the story itself. Like other than that, it's just like there are poor people. I guess I don't like that. That's the thing I'm saying. It's just like when I go and I interact with some of these characters, and I'm just like I'm not a big fan on tragedy and bittersweet stuff. I said that before. I'm gonna say it again. But I'm sensitive to it, and I'm not like picking it up. You know what I'm getting at? It's like all these different characters. It's just like I can see. I don't know. It's
a lot of it's in the side quests with the different side characters that you meet.
I know, but I'm tearing through them, and I'm not getting them. It's like like I did. The most recent side quest that I can think of that I did is the one with River, the NCPD.
I was. That's exactly the one that I was.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's just like, is that the unique cyberpunk tragedy aspect that there's corruption within the force that we knew about? Like
Well, and there's corruption everywhere. Like the whole Arasaka brand is like this soul-sucking monster that preys off of everybody. And the only objective of the company is to get their hardware into as many human beings as possible. And like, I'm not a lore expert. I also know next to nothing about the source material other than the fact that Mike Pondsmith like created the board game. Like I know he didn't make the genre, but I know almost nothing about the Cyberpunk lore proper, as it were. Like all I know is what I've played in the game. So like when you're saying that it doesn't, answer or live up to certain things from the source material, that's kind of a non-factor to me, because although I understand why you would say that, and it's important for games to have reverence for the source material, see Halo, I know nothing about the Cyberpunk setting or like other stories that may have been told in this world already.
Well, the reason I brought it up isn't to bring up and drag up like the whole it's not like the lore. Like I didn't mean it for that purpose. The reason I bring it up is, while I'm also not an expert on cyberpunk lore, I'm aware of the themes of the cyberpunk lore and some of the things you're picking up. I brought it up because like I can infer it based on the source material, not that I needed the source material in order to understand the game. I'm just saying the things you're describing and the things that I would get from the source material aren't really presenting themselves to me in the game, and that's kind of my problem, I guess. All
right. I mean, like another one that comes to mind is, do you remember the character Evelyn from like the beginning of the story?
Yeah, well, that one was one of the bleaker stories in the game.
And like, usually I'm not one for tragedy and like everything fucking sucks in my games either. But for whatever reason, the Cyberpunk 2077, like it just worked for me. And I can't really tell you exactly why. I just think it was the sum of its parts of you can explore Night City however deep you want to. That's on you as the player. You could spend most of your time like with the nomads if you want. It's really on you to go out in the world and experience this. And like it doesn't have to shove it in your face or anything. But that's just the vibe that I got during my like legitimate playthrough of the game.
I get where you're going with that, and again, this is how most people do talk about Cyberpunk. But like, let's use your example. For example, like you could go hang out with the nomads. There's like the nomad area, like the outskirts of Night City. You have a single quest line with Panam. I think that amounts to like 4 quests, which are the character quests that are in Act 2. Those are the substantial ones where like that's like you're going to be revisiting them a couple times. So it's there for the duration of Act 2. But aside from that, it's like there's like 7 gigs I think you can do there total, and like maybe 2 side jobs out there. More if you count the fact that you can like go to like landfills or whatever. So it's like the thing that you're describing is what I wish there was more of in the game. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like,
so maybe there just wasn't enough of it for you, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's just it's a mixture. Like I tried my best to just play the game and kind of get my takeaway. Part of the reason why I waited so long is I wanted to have my mind flush. Aside from the fact that it's like the game's finally done, I can go play it. I wanted to be as far away from my previous, ideas about the game.
I get that. That's a fair way to look at it.
And like I wanted to go in fresh again. And on the flip side, like it's kind of like outside of people talking about the anime, it's kind of like out of the zeitgeist, I guess. Nobody really talks about the game. So going into it, like I'm just getting hit with the things that like I was talking about 4-ish years ago or 5-ish years ago, whenever the game was new. That's and it's fair. Like I picture this thing in my head where I think about where they could have gone with this, where it's just like it's you could go and you take this story in different routes, right? But what it really amounts to is like when you sit down at the end, do you have all the endings available to you? And that basically just comes down to there's like 4 major characters that you can do quests with beforehand in Act 2, and each of those quest lines comes down to like, I don't know, like 4 to 5 quests each. Panam being one of them, for if you want the what was it called, the star? I get all the cards mixed up, but one of them is you go off with the nomads for the last part of your, however long you got left. And I just like, so is it really just you do these side missions, and if you like the side missions, you just go off and do a different ending, and those endings kind of just disregard the central plot? Like, I don't like. I guess my biggest problem, regardless of what I think about the game, what it was supposed to be, the source material, throwing all that aside for a second, my main problem is that the game sells itself as like become a legend in Night City, play the game your way, do this, do that. But what it really amounts to is, hey, we have this really cool plot about a guy who blew up Arasaka Tower in the 2020s, and you're stuck with him, and there's a whole thing going on with this corporation of Arasaka, and you, at the end of the journey with the plot, you can either side with them or go against them. But also we'll have like a couple divergent paths based on the question. Like you're either interacting with the plot in a very railroaded way where you get a choice near the end, or you are avoiding the plot altogether and like kind of getting an ending based off of the side missions. And I guess that's kind of my problem. Like, people on this earth, Daniel, on this earth, there are people out there who give one of our most beloved games of all, or beloved game franchises of all time, Mass Effect.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, they give Mass Effect so much shit.
Yeah.
For like, at the end of Mass Effect 3, you have within the universe a very dramatic option to choose from, or you could just say fuck it and walk away, right? People still say, there are people out there that still say Mass Effect is bad because of that to this day, years on.
I know, like, yeah, I'm aware.
Cyberpunk does the same exact thing, just with some extra dressing, and everybody loves it for some reason. I don't know. So
people can't really see through it the same way that you or I can.
Yeah,
so with all that out of the way, because we're already 32 minutes into the recording, I have one last question about Cyberpunk for you, and then you can get on to the last game.
The last one will be short, don't worry.
Okay. So when you sat down, like you really played through it like the way that it was intended to be played through it. Which ending did you end up going with, like for your legitimate playthrough?
The solo storming with Johnny.
Really? Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, because my whole thing is like all the endings kind of suck. They're not really satisfying to me, so I prefer to just blaze of glory, that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
It's just it's
if
like,
if you care, or if you're wondering, for my ending, I ended up doing I took out Arasaka with the nomads, and then you just leave Night City with whatever love interest or romance option that you choose throughout the game. That's what I did, and I honestly thought it was beautiful because you as the character V, you basically have this terminal illness in your head. You only have X amount of time to live before it completely takes you out, and then you basically just have to decide what to do with the time that you have left. And I just really liked the idea of killing Atom Smasher, doing a bunch of damage to Arasaka, and then just leaving Night City because it's just a fucking shithole, and you just want to have basically peace in your last days. That ending resonated with me more than any of the other ones.
Okay.
Because my very first one, it was I beelined the story, and the ending is just you in the Arasaka lab around the orbit of the moon or something, and the game just ends as you as a lab rat. I was just like, well, this fucking sucked.
Well, it doesn't necessarily end as you as a lab rat. Now I feel
hopeless in the way that V felt hopeless in the beginning of the game.
Well, it's not that you're up there as a lab rat. You have a choice at the end of it. You can either volunteer for the secure your soul thing, or you could go back to Earth and
okay, right. Yeah, I don't remember it as clearly as you just played through it, so you have a much fresher memory of it than I do. I'm going based off of what I did 2-3 years ago at this point. Did you play through Phantom Liberty or no?
I didn't. I have no intention to, just because I'm not giving them money. Well,
it also doesn't add anything to like the overall package.
That was the second thing. My understanding is that it adds like a handful of quests that you can do. I don't know how. Like,
it's a whole new like area of the city. You get like a bunch of new items. There's a new skill tree. It's its own self-contained store, because once you finish Phantom Liberty, you basically just get dropped off in Night City, and then you just continue wherever the main quest from where you left off. But I liked it like as its own siloed off thing. But again, like that was due to the performances and the tone of the writing for the game overall. But okay, so we had Cyberpunk. Like we're just gonna keep on going with this if I don't rip us out of it. So what was the other game that you enjoyed?
I replayed Dead Rising. Yay!
Oh, again. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was the anniversary yesterday, so 20th anniversary of Dead Rising. Okay. So I decided to start a little playthrough. And it had been a sufficient amount of time for me, away from the game, where it's we've talked about this before, where you want to forget a little bit about the game so that you can like enjoy things that you wouldn't be able to.
It's pretty much where I'm at with Cyberpunk. I should probably play through that game again.
That's fair. So yeah, I mean, not much to say about Dead Rising. It's still the great game that it is, and man, oh man, is it a ball buster. If only there was a remake or remaster of some kind that refined it and like gave you different play style options. That'd be really cool, But no, I just enjoyed Classic, one of the last great new Capcom IPs. It's like that and Pragmata. It's like I liked.
Pragmata was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
I also liked Kunitsugami, but that apparently didn't sell very well, so I don't think we'll ever be seeing that again.
All right, cool. So Cyberpunk, which is way out of your wheelhouse, and Dead Rising, which is squarely in it.
Oh yes.
All right, what's going on with this update that we have here?
Hold the fucking phone, Daniel. You forgot
I'm going
something
in order.
You forgot one thing we saved for the end. Because we talked so much about Cyberpunk. We played Gears E-Day, you jackass.
Oh, well, yeah, but like that kind of gets lumped in with the rest of the major news items for this episode, no?
Let's talk about Gears of
All right,
War.
Fine, okay. All right, cool. Okay, so since you just went on and on about Cyberpunk, I am going to start with Gears. All right, so disclaimer, I have already purchased the collector's edition of Gears of War E-Day. That's it. We're not like affiliated with the coalition or anything like that. I spent money on the game already. I've been a huge Gears fan since the first one, and I am a giant enthusiast of like collector's edition versions of the games that I like. So I already bought the collector's edition for Gears E-Day. I put in a good amount of time with E-Day. I think I did 8 hours in total, so not as much as I would have thought. All right, so I primarily played Horde, and the same goes for you because we mainly played it together, and then we did a little bit of versus. So number one, it's a really, really, really good feeling third-person shooter, which is, I know that you would agree with me with that because you told me. Now, I think last week I said that I didn't have a problem with them taking out the roadie run, like especially from like a in-world lore perspective. It never made any sense to me, even in the first one. Like, you just kind of look ridiculous, and I don't think any soldier would actually run that way. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just my gut reaction to the roadie run. And I've always thought this since like, what was it, 2005 when Gears 1 came out. So I didn't really have an issue with that when they showed off gameplay initially, but after playing it for the 8 hours that I put into it so far, yeah, I mean, the roadie run really does belong in every Gears game. I withdraw from my point that I made last week. I'm not married to my opinions, Anthony. I could change them.
There you go.
So yeah, the roadie run definitely should have been in this. I get why they did it, or at least I think I do. It looks more natural from just like that's how I would run too. Like that, but that's it. But beyond that, it's not a Gears of War thing, The shooting feels really good. Cover system feels good. The slide mechanic is kind of a game changer because from like the hundreds, if not thousands of hours that I have in all of my previous playtime in every other Gears of War game, There was never a slide or a jump for that matter. The jump was it was something else pretty impactful as well. The slide, I was just forgetting to use because my brain is not used to like a slide mechanic in Gears of War just yet. I'm sure I'll get very used to it once it comes out. But yeah, I was forgetting to use it a lot. And then we jumped into Versus and I started using it a lot in Versus. And it is a really good rushing tool. And the slide actually feels very good as well. So that's cool. Historically, I have said I am not a big Versus guy when it comes to Gears of War, but I genuinely had a good time with it. We only played a handful of matches, so like we didn't get too deep into the weeds. But I mean, so far, like I have enjoyed my time with it. As far as like a detractor or a negative that I could think of for Gears of War E-Day, I mean, the roadie run is something that I went back on now. Horde Siege is a cool concept for what it is, but I really hope they just end up putting Classic Horde into the full game. And like if they don't, that is going to be a huge con for me. Huge con. It still feels like Gears to me, I think overall. But I mean, I liked it. I had fun with it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, overall, I will say that with E-Day, I think what I said to you, and this kind of kept you on the edge of your seat for most of the weekend. What did I say verbatim? I said something like,
it's a bad Gears of War game, but it's an excellent spin-off. I won't be elaborating on this until Sunday. I didn't read that from the Discord, Anthony. That was off of my fucking top of my head.
Well, here's what I meant by that. I think I might have been a little harsh in how I said it, but let's elaborate. So overall, I've just got to say it feels fucking great to play. I know that you know
that's
me.
Music to my ears because you're an impossible person to please. So like when something has that effect on you, it says a lot.
Yeah, I mean you know me. I love my third-person shooters. I've been hurting for a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
I think Gears of War 3 is the best third-person shooter of all time. I just playing it, moving feels good. Everything feels good about it, except for some of the Gears of War elements in it. Not necessarily being in cover and shooting from cover, like all that kind of like core mechanical stuff feels good. There's too much of a delay between certain actions, like sliding into cover, readying your weapon, certain movement actions. Those feel a little too sluggish for Gears, even if they feel fine on their own. Go ahead.
That was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on while I was playing it because I thought I was doing something wrong. But it did seem like there was like a little bit of like just enough to notice. And I felt it. I felt it like in everything that I did. It wasn't enough to like ruin the experience or anything, but it's there. Also a really big con that I noticed today, especially, their network infrastructure or their netcode or whatever it is not great. It crashed for me only one time, which really isn't that bad by today's standards. But I had a lot, especially today for whatever reason, I had a lot of rubber banding. I had a lot of lagging, a lot of connectivity issues. Nothing really ruined a run or anything like that, but it was omnipresent, if that makes sense. Like it just something like I would shoot a locust and there would be like a half a second delay in the locust, getting actually hit or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that you said that because I thought it was just me or like I was doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Well, my whole thing is like I don't know how much of that is like beta stuff because unlike some of the other betas that we've played in the past, this one is a decent ways away from launch where you can actually see them tweaking some things, turning some dials and some knobs. And like I don't know, like I can see them changing some things, like what you just described, your last example, the whole shooting and then there being a second before like a locust would react to you shooting. I have a feeling that's going to be tweaked, or it should be, because that's borderline like a mechanical issue, not a mechanical preference. I don't know how much of the other stuff that I mentioned they're going to change, because regular movement, regular sprinting, the I guess I can call it this. The overall platforming elements, smooth, feels good.
Yeah.
Running around, jumping over things, sliding, all that feels good. It's when you get down into the traditional Gears stuff, like obviously they mentioned they made an effort to kind of tamper down wall bouncing and stuff like that, and I appreciate that. Not everything needs to be Gears 1 hardcore. Gears 3 did just fine without it. Gears 5 was fine to a limited degree without it. I don't know. I think they need to speed a couple things up. Not the overall movement speed, but like sliding, going from aiming to hip firing and vice versa. Like that needs to be tweaked a little bit in my opinion. But overall, I mean, my biggest thing, and you brought it up at the beginning, one of the things is roadie running, and the first thing that people get on your case about is like, oh, you just like it because it's a name recognition thing. Not all Gears games need roadie running. The reason I highlight that over a traditional sprint, or like having it as an option alongside a traditional sprint, like almost like tac sprint in Call of Duty, is because roadie running is supposed to come with its own pros and cons that's unique to the Gears formula. You're hunched over, you're moving as fast as you can in a Gears of War game, and when you're hunched over, it leans into the cover aspect of the game. So it's like, even though you're not taking cover, you're still safely or safer behind cover than a traditional sprint would have you. And on the flip side, if you play it dumb and you just charge straight ahead, your entire body is now center mass, and you are going to get gibbed by the Gears favorite, the Gnasher.
Yeah.
I also think that there's a certain balance that the game overall needs to strike. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I mentioned Gnasher, and you obviously mentioned it being a Gnasher fest. Gears 1,
yeah.
Gears of War 1 is definitely a Gnasher fest with some exceptions. Like you have, obviously people love the long shot. Everybody loves a sniper. All the power weapons get their uses, but like things like Lancers, the Hammer Burst.
I don't think I've ever touched a Hammer Burst in multiplayer before.
I always really liked the Hammer Burst fun. So you have that. Going into Gears 2, they wanted to mix it up a bit, and that's why in Gears 2, long-range weapons like the Lancer and all those kinds of things, all that was just stronger overall to use between the general movement speed decline, the strength of the weapons versus the Gnasher and all that kind of stuff. Gears 3 brought it back and also struck a balance. I feel like E-Day is currently not close enough to Gears 3 and too close to Gears 1. And I think that's intentional, because obviously they want you to feel like Gears 1. And to their credit, I got this when we got really into it with Versus. I was feeling the same way I did when we tried Gears Reloaded when that came out. So they're doing something right. It's just for longevity's sake, and by longevity I mean like, oh, are we going to be talking about this game in 5 years? I mean like when me and you sit down and we go round after round. Yeah. Is it going to hold us for that long? You know what I mean? So it's like
that's been my problem with Gears Versus. That's been my problem with Gears Versus from basically the get-go. That like the only weapon anyone actually uses in earnest in any given game is the Gnasher, and it's because it's a one-shot hit. It's a one-shot kill up close, and people wall bounce all over the place like they're on Adderall, and like you catch somebody the right way one time, that's it. They're done. Doesn't matter if they are like an inch away from death or full health. Like that thing just erases you. And I always thought that it was just super frustrating because like if you're just going to have one viable gun in the game, or at least one obvious meta choice in the game, it just kind of takes away from the overall package. So I was never a Gears multiplayer guy for like a long period of time. Like Gears of War 1, everyone played Versus. It's just the way that it was back then.
Yeah.
But then they had Horde mode. That was in Gears 2, right? That's when it started?
Yes.
Yeah, so like when Horde mode first launched, like I was all about that because Gears of War proper is a very fun IP to play. Yeah. And like now that we are, 20 something years down the road at this point, and the brand new Gears of War game is coming out, like almost nothing has changed in the multiplayer mode. Almost nothing, except for like the new mechanics they've added, like the sprinting and sliding and jumping. Like I have a genuine issue with how Gears multiplayer is like foundationally, I guess. It's just, I just don't like the fact that everyone uses the Gnasher. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what I really liked about Gears 3 is that was the game that kind of struck the balance where you could use all the other different weapons. It was the first game where like you did loadouts proper, and it felt like you could choose. Oh, you're gonna go in with the Lancer, the Hammer Burst, or the Retro Lancer, or you're gonna go in with the Gnasher or the double barrel, you know, or you're gonna go in with the snub pistol. Like, what are you gonna go like? I feel like Gears.
I remember that. Oh my god,
that thing had.
I'm getting like flashbacks right now. Like, I remember playing the Gears 3 beta when it came out. Oh my god.
I remember my whole thing with the Gears 3 beta is when it was new, I like dropped a coffee cup or something on my Xbox, and it killed the disk drive. So what ended up happening? Yeah, just the disk drive. The console itself worked, so like I couldn't play Gears 2 or anything else, right? And I took a picture of Gears 2 not reading and posted it to, I guess it was Twitter at the time. I posted it to Twitter or wherever the fuck I posted it, and I said something like, I can't even play Gears 2. It sure would be nice if I got a beta code, and they sent me a beta code, and that's how I played the Gears 3 beta. Awesome. I legitimately broke that Xbox. I didn't do some fake fucking sob story. I was without an Xbox with a working disk drive for a hot second there. But where were we? Gears. Yeah, so overall I think the reason I keep bringing up Gears 3, aside from the fact that it's the best third-person shooter ever made, is the fact that like it's the Gears to look to. And the problem is, I think everybody, because of, you know, I would say Gears got off better than Halo did, but Gears isn't necessarily in the best place either as far as an IP is concerned. And I think because of that, they're skittish to look at, if they're going to use a Gears game as a template, it's going to be the first game. You know, they're gonna want to do they're gonna want to do their changes on the side, you know, with the stuff with like the jumping and the sliding and all that kind of stuff, which I think they nailed that. But like as far as like the core Gears vibe, they want to stick with one, and that's why I think, at least as far as what we've played so far, it's going to be that kind of like Gnasher power weapon spread. You know?
Yeah. When the game actually launches, I'll play Versus, but I don't think I'll ever play it by myself. It's just not as. Yeah, there's no variety in the multiplayer. There's just, and there hasn't been for basically since the beginning. Aside from like the random power weapons that you can get, like the Mulcher or whatever it is. But I just have such an issue with the fact that everyone only uses the Gnasher, and like that's it. It's, you know, it's a zero-sum game at that point. But everything else, you know, I guess we should probably talk about Horde Siege now. So Horde Siege itself it's basically the Coalition's answer to Helldivers. That's the simplest way that I could put it.
Shooters in general, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe not so much Helldivers, because it's not like you're calling anything in, which is a huge part of like that Helldivers fun. But just them dropping you on the map with two other four-man squads, which I actually really like, and then you can either run around and do the different objectives, or you could just get right into the primary like hold the zone objective. Now, what I've noticed is that all the progression stuff is tied to the secondary objectives. Maybe not all of it, but a giant chunk of the progression is tied to these like side quests, essentially, like either deliver this power cell to this, close the E-hole, survive in this zone, capture the point. What else was there? Destroy different locust equipment, things of that nature. The more you do, the more squad perks you get throughout the entire match of the Siege game. But also, like, the more secondary objectives that you do, the more weapon parts that you get, and the weapon parts is the currency that you use to unlock weapon mods in the loadout menu of the game. I don't have an issue with them doing it that way, but there needs to be other avenues to earn those weapon parts other than those secondary objectives. I think you might be able to do them from like the main like waves 1 through 10, but the reward flag doesn't pop up until it's either the secondary objective or like the invasion events where like the giant locust could spawn, like the Brumak or a Corpser or was it Reaver? That's the other one. those can do it. But as far as I've noticed, at least so far, it's primarily the secondary objectives that you have to do to unlock the weapon parts. I think there needs to be other avenues to get that currency. Also, there was like next to no fortifications, which I had like a huge issue with. Did you like notice that? Because like,
I mean, I thought it was just something. I thought it was something we were missing. But I mean, if there's no fortifications, like this kind of feeds into the other issue that the issue I really had with Horde and Horde Siege. Because overall, I think Horde Siege was fine. I think it was fine overall. I think there needs to be a bit more coordination, and we kind of need to see how it breaks down with what you get. What you get leaving. With experience and the different perks and whatnot that you can get. But Horde itself is just the Horde Siege map with like less objectives. I want a traditional Horde mode as established in 2 and grew into 5, which what you were getting at, where there's like no fortifications, there's no like. I would not, if I wanted to play Horde, just Horde itself, I would not. E-Day wouldn't be my first choice. I would be going back to 5. If I really
totally agree. I don't know if it's because it was a quote unquote beta that they had like it was like 3 different fortifications. It was the spike trap, the mortar sentry, 4. I'm sorry, spike trap, mortar, sentry turret, and the decoy. But that is nothing in comparison to your options in Gears 5. Like you had the barbed wire, you had the sentry turrets in Gears 5 were like gigantic sentry guns that are basically as tall as you are. In E-Day, at least so far, what they've shown us, it's do you remember the little motion sentry from the Division that you toss out and it unfolds? That's what it is. It was not very Gears of War like. So I really hope that it's just a beta thing and there's going to be a lot more come full launch. But Horde Siege, like you said, it's fun just on its own as its own thing. But when you opt to play just regular Horde mode, they just drop you in the existing massive map with the other teams, no less. You have to go to whichever point on the map that they've designated for you, and then you just hold out for 10 waves. Like, it's not actually Horde mode. It's just Horde mode within the confines of Horde Siege. Exactly. And I really, really hope that is not the case come launch.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's what it's going to be like, unfortunately. I don't think this was a beta limitation. I think what we saw is what we get outside of maybe some map variation if we're lucky. And that's
which is a real shame. Yeah. that's a real shame. There's a whole community out there that all they'll play is Horde mode. So with enough backlash, I mean, we might get it.
You never know.
Yeah. But Horde mode overall, like again, for the 100th time, Horde Siege is a lot of fun for what it is, but it's not the classic Horde mode that you and I would want. Just based off of how the game functions on the giant map with the other players, and the fact that the fortifications are pretty shitty, honestly. So that is very unfortunate. I hope that I am very wrong and that the full Horde mode will be in the main game come launch, but it's only like 2 months away at this point. It's right around the corner.
And I can see mechanical fixes, bug fixes, some gameplay changes, very light gameplay changes. I can't see them. Unless they were just holding out on us. I don't see them. I don't see a traditional Horde mode at launch, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, overall, I did enjoy my time with Gears of War E-Day. Outside of the very few complaints that you and I have, like Horde, like I could easily deal with the lack of Rorty Run. I think, it should be in the game, especially after the point that you made about it, where like mechanically speaking, it hamstrings you, but you get the speed as a trade-off. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. God damn it. I really enjoyed my time, but I hope that Horde mode is what I am expecting it to be, or what it should be. And I also hope the story is good, because the Gears of War story was always fun. But that's it. That's my overall opinions on Gears of War E-Day.
There you go.
What about you? Or you already gave me your spiel?
Yeah, I gave you my whole spiel.
Okay, cool. So that is what Anthony and I thought about Gears of War E-Day. We have an update, right? Yeah.
So we do have this one's kind of small. It's basically over the last couple weeks we've obviously done a lot of talking about Sony and push to digital. Not too many updates from Sony proper as far as this digital push. I did show you recently that new PlayStation 5s are launching with like a fine print warning on it where like they mention the changes coming up. People have seen this as like a them tripling down. Very well could be. Definitely I wouldn't, I wouldn't rescind your opinions. At the end of the day, like I said, you got to do what's best for you regardless of what these companies end up doing. But my main focus is that I kind of mentioned at a certain point that these companies, be it them or their friends in the industry, people who want to be all buddy-buddy with the corporations and whatnot have come out and they've kind of done
I will never understand that.
Some people, man, it's like they have nothing, so what they try to have is like a relationship with these companies. And basically what ends up happening is we get a couple of comments from and around different companies. Take-Two, Ubisoft, Capcom, GameStop. People have been saying things around Nintendo, and I just figured I'd go over that and kind of like, do whatever. So first up, we have Take-Two. We have the CEO, Strauss Zelnick. He said that discs don't really make sense for the consumer. He's also hedging his bets on a cloud gaming boom within the next 3 years. You can kind of see that he's just trying to get ahead of the curve as far as, where the investments go, because, again, it's not so much that he's thinking it. He's trying to will it by saying this. I said that the man has his head firmly in 2014 because short of everybody in the industry wanting it, cloud gaming just isn't going to work. The infrastructure still isn't there. It wasn't there when Amazon and Google both tried to make entire game streaming platforms. It's a background project for like maybe Xbox right now, so
the whole cloud gaming thing, it was never ever where it needed to be. And short of completely overhauling the infrastructure for internet that we have in this country, or any country for that matter,
most countries would need some kind of major retrofit.
It's just not gonna do it. It's just not it.
And I didn't bring it up to necessarily go down the whole rabbit hole with cloud gaming, but the whole thing is like these are big corporations. They see like the prices increasing. This guy and a lot of other people in the industry want to see video games priced like movies, where you're basically paying for hour, and they also want more control. And what's more control than not only do you not have any digital rights with your games, but now you are streaming onto somebody else's platform to play the games. So it's just
they can throttle you, and they can, if you hit a certain time limit, they can just cut you off. The NVIDIA. I don't know if they started doing it already, but their NVIDIA GeForce Now service, one of the plans, I think, is if you hit 100 hours for the month, you just can't play anymore. Like, that's not that much for a month.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Like the funny thing about that is NVIDIA is one of the big pushers for cloud gaming outside of the people who have already failed or put it off to the side for the background. So it's just like to have them just come out and say like, okay, we're going to start throttling you already. It's pretty telling. But I mean, honestly, the end goal is they want to be able to do this because they want the maximum amount of money they can get from you. They want the fullest control over what you can play. And if you are dissident in any of your opinions, they want to be able to get rid of you. Like, let's say this whole digital future comes, all streaming future comes, and then they look at something like me or you said on like Twitter or something, and they just don't like what we had to say, or they listen to the Pre-Game Network podcast and they hear we have some not so nice things to say. All of a sudden, me and you are no longer allowed in the cloud, buddy. We can't stream anymore because we said the wrong thing to the wrong people. That's the kind of control that they want. Like, honestly, they'll never say it up front, and obviously the factor of getting more for, their product, they want to milk you for all the money you're worth, but control is a big factor for them. It's why all these EULAs, even though they're worthless, have more and more shit added to it. It's why when we booted up the Gears of War E-Day beta, there was one of those boilerplate 5-page long, treat others with kindness bullshit mixed in there. It's that kind of stuff.
Like, do you know who you're talking to? The fucking gaming community. Like, do you understand like the caliber of person who's going to be playing these games?
It sounds absolutely outlandish, but the absolute second they have that full level of control, dystopian, that hammer comes down so quick.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not going to be good, and it's just
it's ridiculous. Bad. So anyway, that's where Take-Two is. You had the CEO on the eve of the Grand Theft Auto 6 launch, gets closer, and all the marketing, which we'll say more about later. We have him basically talking about getting more for getting you away from physical copies and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure he'll come up more in the future. We also had Capcom. Now, Capcom, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but people were basically talking about Capcom as far as, what was it? They were talking, Capcom was being brought up because one of their quarterly reports came up, and one of the things that they were talking about, like everybody's been, gunning at and aiming for now, is if a company has an earnings report, you got to skim it and you got to make it look like digital is like the only thing that, makes sense going forward. So basically, they had a heavily stilted report where, like, again, their DLC was being counted as units sold. They have digital exclusive games, which are massive, by the way, in the form of Monster Hunter, digital only Monster Hunter release, basically skewing the numbers. So you have people coming out and saying, well, Capcom only sells 90%, all of their products are 90% digital anyway, so physical doesn't really matter, just let physical die. Another one of those kind of things going on, without all the context I just gave you, and also without the added context that games like Resident Evil Requiem, say what you will about their physical sales, they sell out of their physical sales in regions, so the demand is still there. Moving on to Nintendo, they had an earnings report came out, and people are saying, like, Nintendo, they sell 61.5% physical and only 38.5 digital, and then you look at the actual numbers, it's 38.5 physical, 38.6 digital, and then 22.5 content that's only available digitally. Again, just another skewing of the numbers there.
Did you hear that Nintendo is probably going to start selling dataless game cards? Or did that already happen?
They've been doing that since the launch of the Switch 2.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
So when people refer to game key cards, that's what they're referring to.
Okay.
To their credit, I know I spent a whole lot of time being dour about them. CD Projekt Red managed to put the entirety of Cyberpunk 2077 on a cartridge. So when you buy it, when you buy that for the Switch 2, you are getting the full game on there. You don't have to worry about any of those online issues that we talked about. So credit to them. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, one of our favorites, he said that he pointed to PC's gaming growth again as a reason why physical should just go the way, because look how successful Steam is doing. He is one of the many people who are notorious because Ubisoft had that one snafu where they said you need to get comfortable not owning your games. So I'm sure there's no ulterior motive there with them getting them pushing for digital. And then, lastly, you have the GameStop CEO, I forget his name, saying Sony's decision to go discless is totally irrelevant, and claims that software launching physical discs and all that kind of stuff only accounts for 12% of the company's business. I would love to see the numbers behind there, and I would also just like to point out that GameStop has been a laughingstock because of the fact that they focus. You walk into a GameStop and it's mainly like figurines, toys, borderline Hot Topics.
It's a merch store.
Shit.
Yeah, it's
basically
not a game store anymore.
So I don't care that GameStop's in your name. I don't care that you have a legacy, brick there. Like this, it doesn't matter, So, I don't know. I just thought I'd give a little roundup of all the people, again, trying to push digital and why and where the reasons and all the faultiness there. So, that's your little update.
Corporations being corporations, just further enshittifying everything. Okay, so let's see. What's next? Okay, right, moving on. Okay, so we just got done talking about Strauss Zelnick. Do you want to just jump into the GTA 6 thing this week?
Sure, why not?
Perfect transition. Okay, so, boy oh boy, Grand Theft Auto 6. All right, so it's been confirmed that Grand Theft Auto 6 will finally do us the great honor of showing us, 30 minutes of gameplay exclusively on Netflix for the first 6 hours, starting on August 26th. I could have the date wrong.
I don't remember the exact date.
Yeah. Fuck you, Rockstar and Take-Two. Fuck you for paywalling a goddamn trailer, even if it's for 6 hours. Like, fuck off. I
don't even know why this
pisses me off. Yeah, it makes sense because Netflix probably cut Rockstar a gargantuan check for a 30-minute gameplay segment that is probably not going to be 30 minutes of like raw gameplay, so they can fuck off.
It's going to be the usual bloated runtime.
Yeah, for what it's worth, like I think that GTA 6 is going to be a perfectly competent game. But it's not going to be anything revolutionary, and the amount of hype that this game is getting is just preposterous. Like, I understand the fact that it's going to be the largest entertainment release in human history. Like, I get that. But the way that they are like twisting and squeezing that for all that it's worth is just really getting under my skin at this point. Like, they were going to do this one way or the other. I to be honest with you, I did not see this Netflix reveal coming at all. Like, there's been nothing like this in video games. And it boggles my mind, Anthony. Like, they are going to be milking the player for every last fucking penny that they are worth between the $80 versus $100 version of the game, and everybody knows that the $100 version of the game is really the complete version, and like it's got gameplay missions and like gameplay affecting things in that pack. Might only be one or two things. A lot of it's cosmetic, sure, but there's like side missions and shops that are locked behind the Ultimate Edition. Now with the Netflix reveal, and God only knows what's going to happen when GTA 6 Online eventually launches, because it's not coming out with the launch of the game. Like, it is going to be every little thing they're going to nickel and dime. And like, I feel like the big players in the industry are really looking at Rockstar and Take-Two to see how far they're going to take it, so they know in a comparison like what they're going to be able to get away with. And I don't like it, Anthony. I don't like it. I have no plans on purchasing Grand Theft Auto 6 right now, unless I see something in the trailer that is like completely blows my socks off, which I just don't see that happening.
That bar is very high.
Yeah. But like, barring that, I just out of principle at this point, I am so turned off from this game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've reached another peak of stupidity with this, because you have people, again, before we have seen anything, we have people saying that the mere fact that we are getting a showcase on a streaming service, which I've seen compared to a documentary, by the way, that is a cultural
event.
Yes. That is reason alone for you to be not just hyped up and excited, but thankful and grateful enough to be quiet, wait for release, and buy the game.
Oh, God.
It's incredible. Like, I saw...
You could shut the fuck up. And
I saw...
Go ahead. I'm just going to be making noise.
I've ranted about these kinds of people before, but there are people who go online and, like, they'll make their entire online personality like a gimmick account for any kind of game, event, character, brand, or something like that, right? That's not like an official account. Like, one of them, I think, is called like GTA 6 Countdown or something, right? And his recent posts were something like, I'm all set and ready. I subscribe to Netflix. You know, I hope the money is worth it for this revolutionary thing. It's basically a documentary. That is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. And it really just, as we're getting closer, it's pretty bad. I can understand excitement, right? I get that. Even if it's not for me, I understand why people would be excited. But I really think this is just the hype rolling into itself from the amount of time that it takes to get to these games, you know? And to what you said, Dan, before about, like, you know, everybody looking at Take-Two and Rockstar for this, you know, our buddy Zelnick, he basically, he's looking out for you, buddy, because he's confident. He's confident that they could have priced GTA higher, but they want to give you as much value as possible for your money.
They probably could have, and nobody would have batted an eye. Or not nobody would have batted an eye. People would have bought it begrudgingly, but they definitely could have just made the base game $100, in my opinion. And like,
they essentially did in the safest way possible. They did.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I mean, overall,
base for the game 80. Okay. Quick aside, how much does Call of Duty price their new releases at now? Like, just base. Is it 80?
It's probably 80 now. If not, it's no lower than 70. There's no way it's lower than 70.
That's the only other game that I can think of that is that big. Okay, Modern Warfare 4 on Steam, just the base version is $70. Even fucking Call of Duty isn't brazen enough to do 80 for the base version of their game. Like, fuck off. And you want to talk about inflation and like this ties directly into the chip shortage and AI bubble too, because didn't he say that like, oh, games cost more money to make, like games should be $80 by 80 or 100 like baseline now anyway, because the cost of production has gone up. Like, I'm sorry, fuck you, do your job better. Like, just do your job better.
We had a whole thing about that a week ago, 2 weeks ago or something, where we were talking about how out of control some of these budgets have gone. And you know, with the topic of budget, what is Grand Theft Auto 6? What is it, 1.6 billion or something insane like that?
Just to make
something high 2 billion something.
Yeah, and it's gonna make way more than that. We both know it.
So it's actually interesting that you say that, because obviously whenever Grand Theft Auto 6 comes up and a lot of people are anticipating it, the topic of how it's going to perform comes up. You know, you have some people that think it's going to flop. You have some people that think it's going to be a crowning achievement for all of the things going on in the industry and proof that it works. Honestly, here's what I think is going to happen, and I want to hear your opinion on what I have to say, along with your own take, obviously.
Okay.
I think Grand Theft Auto 6, and this is a bold statement. You're ready for this? I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will sell really well. You know,
real bold statement.
Yeah, as nice as it would be, expecting it to not sell really well without some kind of exceptional state of affairs is a little foolish. Like, you'd almost need an inverse lockdown situation to really cripple the sales. However,
yeah, that's a good point. Or they would need to launch in the same vein that Cyberpunk launched.
Yeah. However, I don't think it'll be profitable in a traditional sense. So, Grand Theft Auto 5, right? It is one of the best-selling games of all time. It had a record-breaking launch. It released over the course of 2 more generations, and throughout those generations, it just worked its way up. I think it's like 80 million or something like that. Something really, really high. I forget the exact number. But yeah, units sold, right? Something really, really high. When it launched, it sold 11 million units, and in revenue, raw revenue, not profit, it made around $800 million. Near $1 billion, right? Yes. Okay. It needs to double that at launch to be profitable, you know? Back to what I said, I don't see it making its budget back immediately. Maybe within a year or something, but I'll look at it like this. The entire revenue stream for Take-Two as a company, revenue stream, is smaller than the budget for Grand Theft Auto 6.
That's insane.
Yeah, there is no way in hell it is making that back in the first day, week, or month. I just don't see it happening. Now, I'm not saying, like, here's the thing. I'm not saying it's going to flop or anything like that. I'm saying this to point to the fact that they're banking on repeated long-term sales to the tune of Grand Theft Auto 5 and leveraging the incredibly lucrative assets in the existing Grand Theft Auto ecosystem with things like online, right? So Grand Theft Auto 6 being an immediate success to the tune of it making back its cost is incredibly unlikely at launch. It's actually more likely for it to have some degree of failure at launch based on the metrics that aren't raw sales. So this is all to say is, outside of a few big numbers that are going to make me and you go, wow, that's a big number, I think that the actual numbers, like the profits, it's going to be mostly boring until they play their hand on long-term support with things like online, like any online successor or the PC port whenever that comes out. And basically, to summarize with all this, I'm not interested. I know you mentioned you're not interested. We're both willing to see what they have to show in the showcase and maybe change our minds, but that bar is very, very high. It's even higher when we consider the price of the game and its availability in digital-only format and not on PC at launch. And I personally think that beyond the sales numbers, the budget of the game overall is going to be a really difficult number to get to in order to get to in an immediate time frame. And with all that said, I would love to hear what you have to say, because I'm getting tired of talking about Grand Theft Auto and the stupidity around it.
All right. So the budget was how much? 1.3 billion?
I'm going to double check. It's somewhere between 1.3 and 2 billion.
So you said that you don't think that it's going to make its budget back within the first week or even month, right?
Yes. I just don't. It's not possible. Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. look at the next major form of entertainment, movies, right? You have billion-dollar weekends, it could be. I mean, infinitely more people play video games than go out to a movie theater. And I know it's not apples and oranges, but we're talking about entertainment, and video games and movies they're close enough in relation that I can draw somewhat of a comparison to. I think that the game is going to clear its budget pretty quickly, in my personal opinion.
In what time frame?
I would say no more than a month.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How much money does? I know we don't have the metrics in front of us right now, but the biggest Call of Duty game, right, which was Modern Warfare 2019, or was it 2? That's irrelevant.
I don't remember. Yeah, go ahead.
That made over $1 billion pretty fucking fast. I mean, granted, Modern Warfare 2019, that came out when everyone was locked inside, so that had that going for it.
Is that revenue or profit, though? That's the distinction I'm looking at. I feel like I said during my explanation, just to clarify, I think that when we hear about the numbers, they're going to be very high. I'm talking about and I'm not saying this to say it's going to fail, it's going to succeed, whatever. I'm just saying, the number I'm most interested in, not in a positive or negative light, but just trying to see where it's going to be. I want to know their revenue from this game and in what time frame. That's what I'm looking at. Not the raw numbers.
The budget is anywhere from 1.2 to 1.3 billion, right? That we know that. That's fact.
Some people are estimating it's as high as 2 billion. It is somewhere between 1 and 2 billion.
Okay, so I'm going to say 1.5 just for the sake of staying in the middle right now. Let's say the budget is 1.5 billion, right? I think the game is going to clear its budget relatively quickly. I mean, don't we already have pre-order metrics?
We have no confirmed pre-order metrics. I'm willing to chalk that up because when people start talking about things like digital scarcity, the game was pre-ordered so frequently that it ran out of stock on a digital good, I'm willing to believe that some numbers we're not getting clear numbers. The dust hasn't really settled on that, and it probably won't until we get sales numbers when the game launches.
So ironically, you and I are super into video games and the industry overall. We have been for quite some time. I don't know any one person in my immediate circle of friends that is in love with Grand Theft Auto. Obviously everyone knows about it. Everyone's played it in some capacity, but I don't know any one person who is as into GTA as I was into Destiny, So I don't know who these people are. I think a lot of them are probably kids.
It's what do they call them? Gun and ball gamers, the guys that only played the latest sports game and the latest shooter.
Oh yeah,
the normies or whatever you want to call them.
There's a ton of those, man. You can't discount that.
I'm not discounting that. I'm saying that their budget has pushed things to such an astronomical level that their record-breaking release of Grand Theft Auto 5, which was 11 million, they need to double or triple that in order to make the money back, which I can see them doing long term, especially with re-releases, but I can't fathom a world where on day one this game sells 30 million copies.
No, day one, absolutely not. I think it is attainable for them to reach a hesitate to use the word profit. I think it would be attainable for them to clear their budget anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And so as far as profit goes, I'm almost done. As far as profit goes, I think easily within a year they will have made a profit.
Within a year, probably, yeah. I mean, it really does depend because GTA 5 had good legs, but most of their milestones came from console generational leaps where they re-released the game for new consoles. That's where the bulk of their major jumps helped them get to that best-selling game of all time metric. Where they're up.
The amount of hype that's surrounding this game right now is absolutely ridiculous. However, at the same time, it still has a ridiculous amount of hype. That's not nothing. You and I might think it's dumb.
But here's the thing. I think it's the reason it's tricky, and I'm leaving us mostly out of the equation because there's obviously a divide between people like us. And you mentioned we don't know too many people who are big into Grand Theft Auto, and even if we
anybody, I don't know anybody.
Yeah, if we grilled them for it, they would most likely say, like, oh, what Grand Theft Auto game do you like? Oh, I like 4. I like Vice City. You know, we have a few people. I know at least one guy who's big into Grand Theft Auto 3. Nobody's favorite Grand Theft Auto that I know of is Grand Theft Auto 5. You know, so it's just like that interest is long gone. But like I'm playing it rather conservatively here because I'm saying like, oh, if we factor in the $100 copy, like let's say that sold more, right? I'm just like, oh, maybe they need more. And I'm just sitting here going like, oh, maybe they need a lower number, right? Maybe they don't need so much. Analysts are saying, like, there are people out there that work in the industry for a living saying they need somewhere between 30 and 60 million copies. Like, I wouldn't even go that far. And there are people who are apparently more in the know than me that think that. And I don't... Obviously, the guys, you know, Rockstar and Take-Two, they're both familiar with this. I'm really just curious to see when they recoup that number. Like, in the long run, they're going to do it because at the end of the day, multiple re-releases in the future with, like, PC... whatever the online component's going to be and how lucrative that's going to be. It's just, I don't think it'll be a traditional success story. Like, maybe it'll break GTA 5's record. I don't know. The gaming industry on a consumer level is so unhealthy right now. Like, let's say everybody was on board like it was like in the 360 days, right? Like, let's say that momentum in the industry proper never faltered. I could see them maybe hitting 25 to 30 million on launch day, maybe, but I think there's a certain group of people that have kind of checked out, and I think it really, like, the fact that they're doing their gameplay reveal on Netflix also leads me to believe that, like, they see like a need for additional advertising, you know, because I can't.
That's a fair point.
I can't really see a deal like, hey, we're going to stream to all of our subscribers and it's going to be like an exclusive event. I can't, like, there has to be value in it for Take-Two, you know? So I don't know. Like, I'm under no delusions that, like, oh, they come this time next year, Rockstar and Take-Two, they have gone over with the biggest plunder ever with Grand Theft Auto 6. That's insane. But I am very curious to see.
I would love nothing more if the game launched and it just fucking face planted in spectacular fashion. That would be so funny. And to be clear, I don't want the game to fail. However, I think the way in which GTA as a franchise is being handled right now is inherently really bad for the industry overall.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? We'll see. We'll see what the gameplay is like, and we'll be able to make better judgments there. But I am the most curious about this. I want to see profit numbers when it launches. I mean,
you're not going to unless it's like ridiculously successful.
If I get a sales figure, trust me, the Grand Theft Auto sales will be successful enough that they're flaunting it. It won't be like a Ubisoft thing where they say like players, or an ArcSys thing where they say registered users. They're gonna be talking about it. It's gonna be an open secret, and then it's just some math from there. Like, I just want to know. I'm most curious not about the potential record-breaking sales, but that budget is so astronomically high. I want to see how this all shakes down, regardless of how the game is. You know?
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be like watching a comet.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't want to talk about GTA anymore either. What else we got here? Anthony, what is going on with Bethesda? What the fuck does this mean? Bethesda Lunchtime Rally.
Oh boy, yes. Oh yes, this is going to be great. So Dan, we talked a while ago. We talked about the Xbox reset and all the different companies that were affected and whatnot and all that kind of stuff, right? One of the major studios that lost a chunk of people was Bethesda. Now, the guys at Bethesda, this surprised quite a few people, like Bethesda of all companies. I mean, and I kind of explained this, like, oh, they haven't really made games in a while. They haven't been doing what they need to do. So it kind of makes sense, right? So what happened is the guys at Bethesda and their union group, One Bethesda Game Studios, they held what I am playfully addressing as a lunchtime rally. And
you and your tongue-in-cheek humor.
Yeah, so at the ZeniMax Studios, hundreds of employees and former employees and local government workers and union workers, they all showed up for a lunchtime Save Our Devs rally. That's what it was called, Save Our Devs. And this translated to a bunch of people loitering around in the 100-degree summer heat, while occasionally one of the more energetic fireys would grab a microphone to shout towards the crowd and wax poetic about corporations stifling creativity. And this happened, I think, late last month, so not too far away, a couple weeks ago. and it since then has gotten a decent amount of attention, I guess you could say. A lot of people took a look at the crowd, listened to what they had to say, and so people are looking in there. There was one guy there for like the entire day, and right on his neck is a big old socialism tattoo. He's got the hammer and sickle. He's got communist. Yeah, he's right on the side of his neck.
God.
Big and bold. On the walls, there's like pride flags and shit. So everybody's kind of ragging on it a little bit. But Dan, here at BOON Syndication, I always pride ourselves with our journalistic integrity, and when we punch down, we do so with an open disclaimer. But this isn't going to be punching down necessarily. So what I decided to do, Dan, is I decided to gather up some of the names of the people that were interviewed and correlate it with their bodies of work, just to see what was going on here. Are you ready for this? We're gonna go down the list here with a couple of people.
Oh God.
So
okay.
So first off, we have Stephanie Zachariadis. That's how it's spelt. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. To the camera, she had to say that they are fighting for the spirit of Bethesda and keeping corporate greed out of our games so they can actually make the games that players have been begging them for. People like me. Yeah, people like me who have been. I was in high school when I said I wanted the next Elder Scrolls game after Skyrim. So quite some time ago. But let's see what's going on with her. She joined the company roughly around August 2021, and she was, quote, an associate quest designer. She spent her entire time there working on Fallout 76, doing minor quests and some character writing. I think she got the job. Apparently she worked on a Fallout 4 mod called Fallout London. She was the lead writer on that, and so her contributions to Bethesda and ZeniMax were Fallout 76 quest writing. What this comes down to on games that are live service is that, similar to MMOs, you have people that write bits and pieces of dialogue or are responsible for churning out stories for one-off characters, singular events, stuff and side quests within major updates and stuff like that. So anyway, to summarize, she spent 4 years sporadically writing different snippets on Fallout 76. How about that, Dan? Isn't that something?
Save the spirit of Bethesda. Oh my
God. Exactly.
Still stuck on that.
Yes. So, who else do we have here? I have another name. One moment. Let's see. We got Tyler Fischer. A lot of winning last names here that are somewhat unconventional or harder to read. He was wandering around with a sign that read, "Bring back our bargaining committee." Okay? Whatever that means. He joined Bethesda in 2017 and is one of the few we're talking about today that was not laid off. Lucky him. He's still with the company, but decided to show up for some solidarity with the downtrodden. Now, Tyler has been with the company for 9 years and counting, so you'd imagine he has more than a few credits, so let's take a look. He's listed as special thanks in Fallout 76. Nice little consolation prize for just happening to be there at the time, I guess. And other than that, he is credited with gameplay programming, a role he shared with 42 other people on Starfield. Now he called the layoffs heartless and demeaning, and said, "We're out here what did he say? Quote, "We're out here protesting these illegal layoffs, fighting to bring the company to the table so that we can, first off, get our jobs back. And if the company insists on going forward with this, we're fighting to get better severance, get better health benefits, get better recall rights." And I gotta say, I'm not gonna dig at everyone saying it, because then we'd be here all day. But a recurring theme with these employees, both in the pool of those laid off and those advocating for those laid off, is this weird 1-2 punch of fuck this company, but also we need our jobs back with better benefits. Anyway, moving on, we have Morgan Goyne, who thankfully has her own website where she keeps her resume because her credits are so insubstantial that the usual places make it a little harder to find her work. Morgan started with ZeniMax in June 2022 and got the boot with this recent wave of layoffs. During her tenure, she worked as a level designer on Redfall, and then later an encounter designer on Elder Scrolls Online. So another pattern you might see forming here is that a lot of these people were in very passive roles, where they work on individual pieces of content for larger projects. Things like individual encounters, singular character writing, individual levels, and they are normally sharing this role with a shit ton of other people. She had to say, quote, "We're not going to be able to put out the amount of content at the speed that we were, or anything approaching that." To which I have to say, one, you won't be putting out anything anymore, and two, while I will acknowledge that live service games at Bethesda were essentially keeping the lights on despite the fact that, you know, they were getting money from Microsoft anyway for doing nothing, I don't very much care for the prospect of Bethesda just sitting there cranking out content for the Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76. I want real games, which I just might get with you out of the picture. We have Mandy Parker. This one actually still works there, but she was very adamant. She's a big part of the unions and whatnot. She was the one screaming into the microphone all day. So I had to wonder, you know, maybe she's got good tenure. She has spent the last 24 years between ZeniMax and Bethesda holding roles that she shared with anywhere between 50 and 100 other employees. She spent the last quarter of a century as a low-level replaceable cog, and her only claim to fame is, like, union work with Bethesda games. Parasitical, some might say, but, you know, whatever. And finally, we have Juniper Dowell, who I think this whole kind of stupidity just culminates around when it comes to how we got to this point. This completely stable example of a game developer had to say the following to the camera. Quote, "We make all kinds of games all kinds of people love. We make a lot of money, but apparently it's not enough to keep us all employed." Let's see. "The reduced teams working on franchises like Fallout and Elder Scrolls would be like trying to sing with half a choir, or a band without a drummer missing. Last year, we lost about 100 folks, and that was impossible to deal with. And this time, we lost even more. This is skilled labor. You can't pull someone off the street and ask them to start developing games or start testing games." And I thought to myself, testing games is it's like monkey work. Like, they could literally, like, me or you could test games because it's play games and try and break them a little bit. I've to the point where I can proudly say I've done some game testing, because I know a few people who like to work on games in their spare time, and they've sent me early builds, and I've played them, and I've reported bugs. That's the fucking job, right? So I was curious about this particular person, Mr. Juniper Dowell. I struggled, and I mean really struggled, to see what was going on here. He's listed as senior QA. That's what it said on the thing there, and I wanted to know what that translates to. And I dug and I struggled. I saw a credit for Fallout 76, but that's not correct because that came out before, you know, he was on the team or whatever. So I dug a bit deeper, and I found out he was one of 114 people listed as, quote, additional quality assurance. So as far as I can tell here, our friend Juniper here might have been the most disposable person of this entire fucking mess that I could find, because you are one of over 100 quality assurance workers for 5 years. Like, that's why, and you're sitting here bitching about the fact that you lost your job after doing fucking nothing. Come on. So who else do we have here? We have... Oh, what? You're getting tired of this? Come on. This is Bethesda. This is important. Let's see. Who do we got here? We have Autumn Mischel. Worked at Bethesda as a senior QA tester and union organizer from 2025 to 2026. Additional quality assurance on Starfield, and senior quality assurance tester on Doom: The Dark Ages. Wow, what a thing to do. You've been in the industry since 2021, and all you've done is quality assurance work. That's one of the running themes I noticed with this. A lot of quality assurance testers, people who work on games, an already a bloated role, because there's typically on these AAA releases, there's anywhere between 80 and 300 of them. So easily replaceable workers, and that's like a bulk of who got laid off. Like, this fills me with, like, confidence that Bethesda can still function, if anything. Let's see here. Nathan Hom, apparently he still works with it. He retained his job as technical producer for Bethesda. He's actively working there, but his main claim to fame is, once again, another one of these people. He's a volunteer organizer for the Union One Bethesda Game Studios. Now, there's this other guy, kind of to round things out, there's this other guy, Chase Carter. He started in 2018 and was laid off last year. The only thing he did was QA testing. Again, just another one of those kinds of people. That's it. 7 years on an easy paycheck gig. Now, Chase, while all these other people are either, very indignant or rude or vocal, Chase is kind of funny because he didn't really rally so much as he just showed up and had a funny little story where he saw someone get laid off and just thought to himself, oh God, if that guy got laid off, I'm done for. And I was, But the point is that there are hundreds and thousands of people in the industry that just float in these easy positions for years. In some cases, for decades. There was this one guy I didn't even get to, Stefan something. The only thing he did at Bethesda was handle monetization on Fallout 76 and some other work on on Elder Scrolls Blades, that VR game. His entire statement at this rally wasn't even about the games he worked on, but that he felt lucky to have unionized so that he could collaborate after the fact instead of just having to go home and find a new job. A lot of these people are just mentally vacant, but there are way too many that, regardless of whether they truly understand how worthless or replaceable they are, they will just hunker down, latch onto some social cause that gives them some social power, or they directly push for union stuff, and they just act as a giant weight on the industry. These guys have more activity in their unions, industry speaking events, different causes and whatnot than they do actually making games. And when you get down to it, the games they made are not the games that the company is known for. They're representatives, and they themselves will wrap all this together, especially the vocal ones, to say that they are the people who built Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Doom. So basically, Dan, there's a whole lot of people that were speaking there in this. It looks like a really hot day, really tough time for these guys here. I saw maybe 2 people that made me raise an eyebrow who were with the company for the same amount of time as that other chick. I've already forgotten her name, where they've been with the company and were between 20 and 26 years. And I kind of say these guys have been around for a while. Maybe there's some more going on there, but it looks like and they've outed themselves by walking up here. It looks like they laid off an army of quality assurance testers, people who write thin snippets of dialogue and quests, really low-level replaceable cog work that the studio was probably bloated to have too many of in the first place. The fact that one of these guys worked there for 5 years and I could only find a single credit on, I think it was Starfield, as one of 100 or 200 people that worked on quality assistance, and you have the gall to walk up to a rally and basically say that you guys are the spirit and soul of this company, that all of their games, by the way, are in the past. The last exceptional game made by Bethesda, in my eyes, was the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I'm someone who can understand the ground that Arena broke when it was new. I understand the technological leap in Daggerfall. I understand why the hardcore guys love Morrowind, and I understand why Skyrim holds that cultural mass and long-lasting appeal that it has, right? I get all of that. Some people might say it's Skyrim. Some harsher than me might say Morrowind. I say it's Oblivion, and that game came out a long fucking time ago. So in the period of time that I've been waiting for a game the caliber of Oblivion to come out, maybe 1/5 of that you've worked for the company, and it's been on these replaceable drag rolls on shit like Fallout 76 and Starfield and the Elder Scrolls Online. You are nothing to do with the spirit of Bethesda. And based on the fact that I'm seeing people with communist tattoos, I see pride flags in the background, I'm willing to bet that these are all the really vocal and annoying union people that have these jobs and just like to be parasitical to this. I have a feeling at least one of these guys, if I Googled this, I didn't look at this, I only looked at credits, I swear to God I could run all of these names through social media channels, and I guarantee I will find at least one of them were used as that token, it's, I don't know what they would call, maybe queer at Bethesda or some shit, and they would highlight this employee as a proud representative or whatever of whatever the fuck, So all I have to say is this lunchtime rally was very eye-opening for me, Daniel, because it really just, me, I was sitting here with you when we talked about the layoffs, and I was like, doesn't make a whole lot of sense with Bethesda because, they have a lot of things on lock, but it seems like they just got rid of a ton of bloat that they needed to get rid of.
Sounds like it based off of that phenomenal roster you just read off.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't really have anything to say on that other than I'm not really surprised. Like these are the people that Bethesda deemed unnecessary to employ. Okay. No complaints, really.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, if you ever have some spare time, just watch some of these interviews because they are
the hammer and sickle tattoo on his fucking neck. Ugh, that's awful. And I mean, look, you know me. I have a bunch of tattoos. I like them, obviously, but like, that's a fucking statement, dude.
Yeah,
holy shit.
Like my whole thing is this, like, I'm not trying to red scare the video game industry or anything like that. I just think it's very telling the crowd that was actually at this rally and what they actually did for the company, and like the roles they were in, the games they worked on, and apparently the values they hold. I don't think Bethesda's going to be missing too much, with the exception of like I said, there were one or two people in there that made me still go, what were you really doing? Because some of these guys have some really long tenure, but a bulk of it are these people that based on the online chatter, many other people are just glad to see go.
Yeah, that, God, I mean, as usual, you do your research. Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. All right, let's see, what do we got here? All right, Anthony, do you want to tackle a normal size story, or you want to go through all the small stuff? There's a lot of small shit this week as well.
Let's rapid fire the small stuff, just because we are backed up a bit from last week, so we'll get that out of the way. Right. We'll do slice of life, and then we'll get the fuck out of here.
Okay. All right, so lost knowledge at BioWare. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so there was recently, I don't know if it was a direct interview or if it was something that they just happened to be talking to, what's his name? Former series producer Mike Dara, who you probably have heard from just BioWare
every
names.
BioWare major title.
Yeah, exactly. He basically said it's unlikely that Dragon Age, specifically Origins.
Oh yeah, that's 2, right. Like nobody knows how to use the engine.
Exactly. There's too much,
which would explain a lot.
There's been so much talent bleed over the years that there's just nobody left around that has the institutional knowledge to remake or remaster these games from internally. There's no experts available. They would need to approach it from a new engine, and I don't think it's something that EA, especially after their new buyout situation, and just BioWare would see value in. I'm pretty sure Dragon Age is on ice for the foreseeable future, if not forever. After that disaster,
makes me really concerned about Mass Effect.
There might be more to talk about. Yeah, there might be more to talk about Mass Effect next week, because that EA thing did close, and we got to see what EA is going to do now that EA has been successful.
That was the next. That was the next topic, that the Saudi EA deal is officially closed. EA is now a private company, which could be a good thing. It might be a good thing.
I think it will. Two things. Not only are they private, but they just took on a shit ton of debt as a result of this deal. So basically, going forward for the foreseeable future, they can't dick around, and I think between the fact that they're private now and they will have less external influences affecting what they make, and the fact that it's all hands on deck to make sure that they can right the ship with like the tens of millions of dollars they now owe, I don't think there's going to be too much in the way of dicking around with all this nonsense. As far as like anything outside of making a good game is probably getting the boot. It's right out the fucking window. So BioWare will either need to be on lock to make a good Mass Effect, or they might even sell BioWare. Who the fuck knows? So that's what's going on with EA and BioWare right now. Just too much institutional knowledge is out the door. Something we've been saying for a while. The talent bleed is completely real, and now the overlords, the owners, are less inclined than ever before to deal with bullshit outside of just making a good product. So we'll see where that ends up going.
That's a net positive. I mean, that could have really good ripple effects going forward.
I do think, I mean, we talked about it when it was a potentiality. I do think in the long run it is better than not for some of the properties there. I think once the dust settles on the actual deal and all the griping is cut off by, hopefully more layoffs, or just from the fact that they have no influence over the process anymore, I think this is the first time in a long time that EA could change for the positive. Not saying they're going to be some golden god on high, but I do think that this is better for them in the long run potentially.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so God of War recasting. I mean, we talked about Ryan Hurst getting injured, but Bethesda, he's in talks to play Kratos now, right?
Yeah, I think that's what you said to me.
Yeah, no, that's 100% what's happening. Nothing's confirmed yet, but
Did
the
they
news
say
was
they're recasting Atreus too now?
I did not hear about, but based off of how he looked in that screenshot, might be a good idea.
So the turmoil with the God of War TV show. Not that there were any hopes, for that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
The only positive thing about it for me was the fact that I think that Ryan Hurst could have been a really good Kratos, but that's not going to happen now. Bethesda, I can go either way with. I don't think he has the height.
I don't know if he's got like
fixable.
I don't want to say he don't talk no good, but like I don't know if he's got the vocal range.
Yeah,
for
also
Kratos.
a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what vocal range? Everything is like in a low octave.
Yeah, but you need to understand. Like he's got Kratos in both his appearances, less so in the newer ones, but in the older ones, he's got. Sure, it's like growly, right? But it's also crisp in a way I don't think Bethesda quite reaches. Like he almost talks like he's got a slur, like he slurs his words a little bit. It's like not quite punch drunk like Stallone or anything like that, but he's not clear in his speech,
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. All right, yeah. So that happened. Ready Player 2, the sequel to Ready Player 1, is still in fact a thing. It exists. I only put this in here because like the movie has nothing but video game references in it, and I actually happen to love Ready Player 1. I really liked it a lot. And I didn't even remember that they were supposed to be making a sequel until I saw that it was still in development, or like it's still a thing. Nothing too big. That's why it's been the small news block. But yeah, that is still, in fact, a thing that is happening. Let's see what else we got here. Undertale. I don't know anything about this. Undertale skips North America.
Yes. So this is just a fun little snippet of news. They are opening a museum for Undertale because it is pretty massive in Japan, and I found it funny. Not because I'm particularly attached to the Undertale property, but I find it funny that it will be exclusive to Japan, because there is a long-running joke, tongue-in-cheek thing in the community that the English side of the fandom of people who like Undertale and now Deltarune is horrid. It is like, if you remember, we've talked about it before, but if you remember Tumblr, like the worst parts of Tumblr, it is alive and well. It is alive and well in the Undertale Deltarune space. They are just dog shit, gross, awful people. And it's joked about because the guy who created Undertale and Deltarune, Toby Fox, he's an older part of the culture that was like when we were in high school. Like that's like the kind of realm he comes from. And it's been noted by many people that, when he does streams, he doesn't do live appearances. He spends a lot of time in Japan talking with those developers and doing deals with those people and recruiting those people to the team, and it's kind of an unspoken thing that he just cannot fucking stand the fandom he's managed to get. Who's to say, really? Because like he is one of the, he's not quite a whack job, but he's kind of insufferable himself in a lot of ways. But I just find it funny that whenever something major or something that could be considered cool happens, it's almost exclusive to the Japanese guys. Because this fan base over here is fucking abhorrent. I think you might remember this, but when Undertale was new and we were doing the original podcast, when I finally sat down to try Undertale, I mentioned to you on the podcast, I said, I put off for so long because I just could not touch the game because the fan base was just that off-putting. Nothing has fucking changed since then. So that was just
that's a good sign.
Yeah, that is just a fun little thing,
Yeah. All right. So that was it for the small news, right?
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. Since you missed last week, what is your slice of life for this week?
Yeah, so there was just a little moment, as you do when you talk with friends or whatnot. You send messages, gifs, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you shoot music back and forth with people. Obviously, it's just basic friend stuff, right? So part of the channel, resident freethinker, our buddy Harrison, he sent me some music. Resident freethinker. He sent me music from Persona 3, and so I'm sitting there, I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, for the first time in a while. Obviously, when we talk about gaming, we always keep things within the perspective of our all the games we've ever played, right? We kind of like, in a lot of ways, we never really left that. It's with us. When we talk about gaming as a topic, as a hobby, as a medium, we know where we come from and all that kind of stuff. I think for the first time in a while, I got hit with like a pang of I hesitate to say nostalgia because I don't really get nostalgic. I try to live in the moment as much as possible. But listening to this, it really just took me back to the PlayStation 2 days, and it just reminded me how far Sony has really fallen, because we talk about a lot of like where we draw the line with golden ages and whatnot. It's come up quite a few times. I think a time where we got like some of the most enjoyment out of gaming was probably in that 360 era and a little bit before that, but like there's no love lost for like the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 1, and the consoles that came up in that era. And I just think about all of the shit they had when they were firing on all cylinders, right?
Yeah.
It's like
it's painful to think about, honestly.
Yeah, it is. And I look at it like if we just look at that one particular generation of PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox, right? I don't really think there are any fucking losers. Like you could talk about it all that stuff with like the sales and like who had the most staying power and whatnot, but just looking at the PlayStation 2 catalog, there were so many direct exclusives, strong partnerships that led to exclusives, great quality across the board. It's like if you wanted to play Persona, it was a PlayStation exclusive for a long fucking time. If you wanted to play Final Fantasy after 6, it was on a PlayStation console. If you wanted to play Silent Hill, the first versions of all the different Silent Hill games that came out on the PlayStation. Naughty Dog, all the games that they worked on with Jack and Crash and all that kind of stuff, that was on the PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid, PlayStation, all these different exclusives and soft exclusives just by virtue of working with the PlayStation, and it just brought like how lucky were we to grow up with that kind of stuff,
Dude, honestly, I think about that all the time. Yeah. All the time. Like that era of gaming, truly the golden era of gaming.
Yeah.
Like there were just so many unbelievably good heavy hitters. And we haven't even come close since then. And it's so depressing to think about, but I think about it not just the same. Which actually, this ties in quite perfectly to my slice of life this week. So as you know, last week I told you that I was reorganizing my bookshelf. I saw that I have the Jack 2 collector's strategy guide, but I have Jack 3, but I did not have the Jack 3 strategy guide, and then I bought it. I found it online. And then it further dawned on me last week that motherfucker, I lost my original copy of Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. Like way back whenever it was, I don't even know. I got a copy of it for like $8 on eBay, and then later on that week, or I guess a couple days ago, I was in a store called the Video Game Trading Post. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to check and see if they even have it here and how much it's going for. I checked. It's like $20 on the shelf. Huh. So I just thought that was pretty cool. I got one of my original like favorite games of all time for super cheap. I finally rounded out to complete my collection of the Jack trilogy.
There you go.
And it gave me a warm fuzzy feeling when it came in the mail. Furthermore, one last thing, since that was kind of like supplementary, but it related to what we were just talking about perfectly. Yeah. So you know how Black Ops 1 and 2 got released on the PS5, or right? It was PS5, yeah. So the players on the PS5 discovered a unreleased zombie tower defense mode that never saw the light of day, and people were like shocked by it. And I think that would have been a really cool mode too. I just thought that was fun and interesting.
Yeah, I love it when like new versions of a game come out, but like where they grab the code to make the new version isn't always the final release code. So even though the game experience is the same, sometimes under the hood there's just like leftover bits and pieces that you didn't get to see before. That's always neat.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. But that's it. That's my slice of life for
there you go.
For the week. Sure, I'll have something next week.
Oh, of course. That's the hope.
That is the hope, indeed. So, all right. Well, with all that being said, we are going to wrap it up. If you're still listening, thank you very much. This was episode 118 of the Pregame Network Podcast, and we will be back once again next week to talk about whatever bullshit goes on in this coming week. And I am quite confident there will be something.
Always.
So, always. With that being said, thank you very much, and we will see everyone next time.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.